Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing just a quick version of how to make this type of dome here. We'll be working with a 6.5 inch diameter, and I'm going to show you guys how to make this and then produce this pattern to make that. Alright, let's do it. Okay, so go ahead and start off by making a vertical line on the center of your workspace. And let's see. And then we're going to do a horizontal line at the bottom so we can get a baseline going. Okay, so I'm going to, since we're going to make it at 6.5 inch diameter, I'm going to set my compass at 3 1/4. 1, 2, 3 1/4. Put my sharp point right here and make our dome. Okay, in the same position, put your sharp point here, strike an arc above on that arc. Do the same thing on this side. Keep in the same position, put sharp point here now. Strike an arc there and here. Alright, next we're gonna identify a pivot point on this vertical line. So what you're gonna do is line up this point to this point here, shooting a line all the way across to this vertical line here. So just follow my lead, line up your ruler to that, and make your line. And now we found a pivot point right here. So that is where we're going to put our sharp point of our compass. Put your sharp point of your compass right there on the top. Then open up your pencil point to that, to the bottom base of your dome. Now lock it in place. And then we're going to do this. Okay. Now what we want to do is figure out what the diameter of this baseline here, which would be 6.5 inches. So we're going to get our calculator. We're going to go 6.5 inches times 3.1416 equals 20 7/16. So that's the whole diameter of the 6.5, but we're going to want half only, so divided by 2 equals 10 13/16. So I'm going to go from here to one side, or you can go either way, at 10 13/16. So I'm going to skip it on 1 and go to 11 13/16. So that's 1, 1, 2, 3. So that is 10 13/16. Now I'm going to copy that distance on this side. Put my sharp point on our compass there. Lock it in place on that side. Swing it over. Strike an arc. Okay, so now what we're going to do is put a line from here to your pivot point there. And then do the same thing on this side. Alright, so now that we have that arc, or this radius, now we want to get the top radius. So we have this, now let's get this right here, which is right here. And just so that it makes sense, let me just make some lines, which I forgot to do. Okay, so same thing. Now get your compass, put it on the pivot point here. Open it up to the top ring, like that, and swing it over to that line. Okay, so now you have the whole bottom piece here. Now let's go ahead and do this side here. So we're going to do the same thing. So now what we're going to do is run a line from this point to this vertical line here. Make a line, and that is going to be the line of pivot. Actually, not really, but okay, so what you can do is put your compass here, put it there, lock it in place. And since we're going to combine the rings, you're now going to put your pencil point there and put your pivot point there. And now what you can do is make a radius circle like so, and mark this as your pivot point. Okay, then the next thing what we want to do is figure out what the whole diameter of this top or middle ring is. So that has a diameter of 6 5/8. So we're gonna go, oh no, not 6 5/8, 5 5/8. Yeah, 5 5/8. So 5" 5/8 times 3.1416 equals 1711/16. But since we only got 1/2 of that, divided by 2, that's 8 13/16. So what I'm going to do is figure out what 1 inch looks like with this flexible tape measure. So 1 inch is right there, and then 13/16, 15, 14, 13. Okay, so that is my 13/16, and that's my 1 inch. And we wanted 8 inches. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 13/16 is there, and 13/16. Alright, so now let's go ahead and copy this distance to here. I'm going to take our compass and then transfer it over. Now what we're going to do is run a line from here to that pivot point there. Same thing on this side. Alright, now let's go ahead and get the top ring. So again, put your compass on that sharp point here, or not sharp point, but rather the so-called pivot point, and then open up to that top ring here. Lock it in place. Now put your sharp point here on this pivot point, and then make your line. Alright, so there is your middle ring. That's done. Now let's go ahead and do the top dome. So that's going to be an enclosed top portion. So same thing. Now let's go ahead and run a line just like what we did here and here. Now let's run a line from this point to that point there. You don't necessarily have to do a line, but this is just to show you where you're going to put your compass. Okay, so put your sharp point now here. Open up your pencil point to that spot there, as you can see. Okay, put your pencil point now hugging the second ring or the middle ring there, and then put your pivot point, sharp point there, and then make a complete circle. We're making a complete circle because it's not gonna have a middle opening, and then that's gonna be your pivot point, your last pivot point. So same thing. Now we want to know what the whole diameter of this top portion is. So we're going to measure that, and that has a diameter of 3 1/4. So let's go 3 1/4 times 3.1416 equals 10 3/16, but we only want half of that. So divided by 2 equals 5 1/8. So let's do the same thing with our flexible tape measure here. Let's see what 1 inch looks like with this radius. So that should be 1 inch, and we want it at 5 1/8. So that is 1 inch, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1/8. It looks like it's just going to be closed. It's not really going to make a difference, but yeah, it's not making any difference, so supposedly it's right there. And so then what you do is you can run your line from there to this pivot point here, and you'll be able to barely see a pie there. But just note that because this is an enclosed top, this is really not necessary. You can actually just technically run the whole diameter and do a slit or a cut, and then you can overlap the top dome and it'll just close off. So not really that important. Alright, and that is it. So that is your pattern, and it'll produce something like this. So all you do is you close these off, join them like so, and I'll just quickly supposedly demonstrate if I can, or let's see, we can just do it like this. So yeah, that's kind of like what you want to make. So yeah, you just close this off, tape it, do the same thing on this side, tape it, and then on this one, the dome, you just close it like that, and then tape it, and then that'll produce this. Okay, so the reason why this video is a little bit different than others is because I'm doing an experiment, trying to see or gauge the algorithm on YouTube. I'm just trying to see what lack of effort does to the amount of views or subscribers for making a, you know, a non what do you say, a low effort video. And then also this is really also mainly for my subscribers, also for my potential viewers, but mainly for my subscribers. I'm just trying to find out to see if by adding B-roll that I do on the top right and the description of the video on the left with static pictures with digital lines running through them makes a difference in explaining the process on making these videos, or rather layouts, to make, you know, certain types of either events or you know, things like this. So yeah, this is really a question for my viewers. If you feel like that does help, let me know in the comments. The reason I ask is because of the turnaround or time that it takes to make these videos. They take a long time. As you can see, this was done, I believe it was done at 13 minutes or maybe 14 minutes, and now I'm rambling off for another 1 or 2 minutes, so who knows. So I'm more concerned of my subscribers, because I have to assume that the reason why they subscribe is because either I have a way of explaining the things, and I have a better way of showing what I'm verbally saying by showing B-roll description on the left, and then especially doing digital lines going through static pictures on the right side over here. So I definitely don't want to hinder that in a way where it might turn off some subscribers. But yeah, if you're if that is what you guys are interested and want me to keep going, let me know. Because again, for something like this, if it only takes me 13 minutes to make, I'm just going to, you know, take it, put it on my computer, and probably do the most, maybe just change the lighting or tone on the video image, and then just upload it on YouTube, and that's it. But obviously I do what I do because I have to stand out different from the rest and make it unique in some way, because I am aware that there are several other channels that have way more subscribers, and obviously they have a lot more videos, but this is just my way of doing my videos, so I'm just trying to stand out. But yeah, for something like this, it would take me maybe an additional 4 or 5 hours to now start editing and putting all those digital lines and stuff like that. But yeah, if it's something that you guys are interested, or that's the way you want me to keep going, then by all means let me know. And that, I will see you guys in some video later on. Alright, hopefully this made sense. If not, don't worry, I'm going to make a repeat of this one. Again, this is just a test video, just to see what my subscribers think of how I do things, if they want me to take my time and do all that work, or just get to the point and do something like this. Alright, on that, I will see you guys in the video. Peace. Where is that button?